time it is!
Thank you for checking out the C-Squared Hour. I am your host, Chris, giving you all the opinions that matter as much as anyone else sitting at a card table. We were off for Thanksgiving week, so this is going to be 2 weeks condensed into one episode. So I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. I certainly had a Thanksgiving. But before I start, I want to let everyone know I am drinking Westbound Train Juicy India Pale Ale from Brick West Brewing in Spokane. My buddy Mitch came over for the Tyson fight, and he brought that over, and I'm as his recommendation. And see, that's a good way to get a recommendation. Actually, bring me the beer. That's a good touch. I enjoyed it during the Tyson fight, and I'm enjoying it now. So definitely, if you're in the Spokane area, give Brick West Brewing a check out. And you know what? I should actually talk to Mitch. Mitch seems to know all these fucking local players in the local alcohol game. So I should talk to him about what beers to check out and shit like that. Since none of my, wait for it, squareheads, the shirt's getting printed, boys and gal. I'm sure there's one who listens. We are getting the shirt. So since a bunch of my square heads won't give me recommendations, I should just talk to Mitch, and he seems to be knowledgeable and all that. If I sound a little different today, I decided I'm going back to the mug. The beer mug is a little more classy, I think, and it kind of gives me a certain. I feel a certain level of, what's the word? Why can't I think of the goddamn word? I don't know. But it gives me a certain credibility, a certain level of credibility. If you're sitting here drinking beer out of a can like some hobo, no matter how good the beer is, if you're drinking it out of a can like some hobo, it's harder to, give your opinion about your way of thinking and have it feel the same amount of importance. So going back to the mug, I started recording a little too late today. I'm not going to go off on this big tangent because I know there are millions of other podcasts and things like that going off on it, but Windows, you're getting your dick kicked in by Google and Apple. I shouldn't have stupid fucking bullshit problems because you had to reset from daylight savings time to log onto my computer. Go fuck yourself, all right? Now, you may be asking where the other Chris is, and I will tell you, his old lady and him just had twin boys, so he is off taking care of that, and I wish him all the best, him and the woman all the best. She's healthy. From what he's told me, everything seems to be going good. So we will, congratulations to him. Now, I know this is going to be brought up to me quite a bit. It's already been brought up. Yes, I did see Greg Norman's hammer. I did see it. Yes, it is, from what I could see, what they built statues about. So I did see that. You could stop texting me about it and tweeting me about it and all that stuff. So even though my DMs are open to all my squareheads, even though they're open to all you guys, I saw it. All right. And again, it's been picked up everywhere on the internet. I don't have to go off on about it. So I did see his hammer. Quite honestly, I mean, it was surprising, but I'm not surprised that Greg Norman, if you look at how he, carries himself, he's carrying a lot more than everyone else. if you watch how he's carries himself or carried himself during his career, yeah, you could see a big hammer on that guy. So the only thing surprising about it is that he was able to keep it in his shorts. So the big news: Sarah Fuller, a quote-unquote kicker for Vanderbilt, is your player of the week. They bring this guy. So, in case you didn't see it, Vanderbilt's losing by like, I don't know, 600 points or something stupid like that, right? So they bring in a broad who's the goalie for the women's soccer team. And, let her kick off for the second half or some shit, because I think they got shut out. I didn't look at the score too much. They let her kick off, and now she's the first woman to play in a Power 5 college football game. Now, if you watched this kick, you would watch a kick that doesn't get higher than anybody's waist on the field, goes about 20 yards, and rolls another 10. Now, rather than calling it what it was, which was a dog shit kick, which could have been by nerves, could have been for whatever, rather than calling that, they say she came in to do a squib kick. The fuck she did. She kicked a horrible kick, but because it's a woman, and because we have to pretend like, they're equal and they should be along, we have to pretend like that kick was on purpose. And so one shitty kickoff, but because of the whole female thing, she is the player of the week because she's the first woman to play in a Power 5 game. First of all, your team's 0-8 after that game. So it's not like you're really, and you're down by fucking 40 points. It's not like you're really going to help or hurt the team's cause anyway. And then Derek Mason, the coach, after the 0-8 start, gets fired. Well, fucking good. Good for them. I think he should have been fired as soon as they put that. Not as soon as that kick hit the ground, he should have had his pink slip, because at that point it was clear that this was nothing more than just some fucking joke publicity stunt. And quite honestly, if I was any sort of broad trying to get into football, I would be insulted by that. Now all of a sudden, this bitch wins Player of the Week doing something that, hell, my fucking 3-year-old nephew would have been able to do just as well, if not better. Just as well, if not better. And we're going to sit here and pretend like, oh, she's this trailblazer. And no, she had a shitty kick. They're doing it for publicity. And I'm glad that the coach got fired. Not glad. It sucks anyone losing their job. But yeah. If any college football coach is going to lose his job in the middle of the year, it should be him. Not just for the 0-8. I mean, obviously the 0-8 part does have something to do with it, as it should, but just the fact that you fucking do that, you put in your token woman in the kicking spot and say, hey, look at how progressive we are, and look at this, we're going to put in this girl to kick, and look at that. There's no fucking way. I would be willing to bet a quarter of my ball skin on the fact that there's no way that fucking thing was on purpose. There's no way she did that on purpose. Just because it looked like something that resembled a squib kick, which is done before when it's a close game and things along those lines. Just because of that, it doesn't mean it was done on purpose, people. Her kick was bad. And the whole thing was a joke. So really, what that's showing me is that me, an out of shape 33-year-old white guy, could show up to a college and kick one that rolls 30 yards, and I have a legitimate shot of playing in a Division 1 game. Isn't that what I should take from that? Or should I take, which is the opponent? And I know I do this too much. I'm not going to go off on the fucking anti-woman thing too much. Yes, it bugs me, and it's always going to bug me, and I'm on the wrong side of history, or I'm on the wrong side of this argument, which you're probably right, but there's absolutely no reason that we should that this should even be a fucking thing. I mean, this is participation medals run amok. This is what you get. Everyone complaining about, participation in Title IX, and I mean, fuck, you get too much money spent on your sports anyway, and we have to pretend like you could play in a men's sport too, just because the pads fit. You do have a career coming up, now that Mike Ditka bought the Lingerie Football League or whatever they're calling it now. Or no, he didn't buy it. He's the president now. So now that you got that, you're going to have a place to go, and, they play on smaller fields anyway. So, I mean, maybe your kick would look good on those. I know I beat this, but why? And then, oh, she's so brave. For what? Kicking a ball 20 fucking yards? Jesus. She's brave the way a 16-year-old kid is brave parallel parking between orange cones. There's no real chance of anything horribly going wrong. You're in the middle of an empty parking lot. Everything's fine. You're learning how to do it. You're going to show your daddy that you could do it. And that's what you did. You parked your car between two orange cones. Because what's the worst going to happen? You kick it out of bounds, and they're set up to go up 85-0. Or the best that can happen is, you kick it and you make it look, relatively decent. And then you don't have my dumbass sitting here pissing and moaning about how horrible it is that we're sending this message. And before I get off of this, and I have, a lot more to go off of. Before, what I'm scared of is that this is sending a message to future female athletes to say, hey, you know what? You don't have to work as hard as male athletes, because look, you'll get the same opportunity as a male athlete does, and you could be half as good. That's what we saw. Let's wait to have the females crossing over into football until we find a female that can actually do it. Simple as that. That's all I want to see. I want to see a female good enough to actually do it. And now I hear she's fucking traveling with the team this week. Give me a fucking break. With all the money that gets spent, with all the COVID issues and all that sort of shit, you're going to bring an extra fucking kicker who's not even that good? And all you're doing is going for the headline. But here's what I want. The next time you even think about doing this, make sure she's fucking good enough. So you don't get a dumbass like me sitting here saying what I'm saying, saying the truth, regardless of how horrible it sounds or how horrible. I'm not lying. So, Sarah Fuller, congratulations on your participation record. Enjoy it when you're talking about your days of yore or whatever the fuck you do. Now, I promised I wasn't going to go off on this, even though, this has really bugged me quite a bit. I promised I wasn't going to go off on another woman tangent, because there's going to be plenty of those, and I'm going to be annoyed by them more, and it's going to continue to happen and happen and happen. So I'm not going to do it. The big thing that happened this weekend, Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. The big event everyone was waiting for, the time of the year or the decade or of the of the fucking, sorry, I had to fuck with my mic there. The time of the fight of the whatever the fuck they want to call it. I didn't want a refund for it until the end. And I'll tell you why. First of all, they had this kid, Vasquez, fighting a kid named Gonzalez. And this was in their free hour. This is the build up to the actual fight. And this fight was fucking fantastic. Two guys just trading the whole time. I mean, it was for one of those fake belts, like how WCW used to have the TV championship or whatever. So basically, you walk out there with a belt, even though no one's really caring about it. So that fight was great. I mean, you look at Vasquez; it's just built like a brick shit house at 126. And Gonzalez trying to, is a tall, lanky guy trying to use his reach, and Vasquez is just walking through it. But Gonzalez, with how much he was getting tagged, he had a fucking hell of a chin for how tall and lanky he was. He definitely shouldn't have. It shouldn't have gone all the way with how solidly Vasquez was teeing off on him. So that was my point of that. And I was pretty certain that this was just going to be a whole fucking joke. The whole thing was just going to be a fun little, pay your $50 and enjoy some nostalgia and look at some. And as soon as they show Mario Lopez is the one hosting it to advertise the new Saved by the Bell or some shit like that, as soon as they showed it was Mario Lopez, I knew I was right. It was just a money grab joke for all these guys, and the thing was guaranteed $1 million for Tyson and Jones. So I mean that's what you got, and then what do we have for the other fights? I'll get to the main event. Calm down. Hey, squareheads, calm down. I'll get there. We're looking the next. I don't know if this is the next fight or not, but Nate Robinson, former NBA player, former University of Washington star, fought one of the Pauls, the YouTube guys. I don't give a shit which one. I probably should with, trying to get into that medium, so to speak. But yeah, he fought one of the Pauls, either Jake or the other one. Yeah, so Nate Robinson versus one of the Pauls. Nate Robinson got embarrassed. And here's the biggest problem. It's not the fact that both Paul brothers are trying to be fighters, and it's not the fact that, he did it, he's, quite a bit older, or, that maybe he didn't have enough time training. That wasn't the issue. The issue is you came out in Knicks colors. If you come out wearing New York Knicks colors, you have no goddamn chance. No chance. Absolutely no chance. And even if you came out in, I don't know, he played for other teams, I know, but if you come out in, Denver Nuggets stuff, yeah, you're still going to lose, but you're not going to get embarrassed. You got embarrassed, not because, mostly because you thought it was going to be a lot easier of a fight than it was, and it turned out not to be. The Knicks colors screwed you, bud. I'm sorry. But fuck, dude, Paul just annihilated him. It knocked him out in the second round, but it should have or could have been over in the first. All right, then what else did I have from that fight? Okay, so then we had Badu Jack fighting a newcomer coming off a Navy shipyard or some shit like that. They're bringing him into, I don't know, he's a newer guy, and they're having this, holy shit, how the mighty have fallen. Badu Jack, Badu Jack, I don't know how to say it. This fucking guy's like, he's fought in guys like Durrell, like DeGaulle, like Callum Smith, like Adonis Stevenson. And now he's on the undercard of basically boxing's version of a Legends game. And he was obviously way better than the guy they were putting him up against. And way outclassed him. But he didn't even get him out. They went the full 8 rounds or whatever they were going. So if Mr. Jack was trying to parlay that into bigger and better things, if he was trying to get that into a, get back in the ring with one of these big names or get 2 fights, you sure the fuck didn't do it with that. That performance is not going to... It might get you on the undercard of the next Paul versus... I don't know. Paul versus Rashard Lewis fight or what have you, but it's not going to get you back to where you could have been or where you were. No one gives a fuck about you still. You were kind of a lost name after your last loss, and you still kind of are. That fight did nothing for you to go forward, except maybe put eyes on you that aren't 100% boxing fans. I don't even know what the pay-per-view numbers did for that, but I guarantee you, I would say you're getting 70% boxing fans and 30% nostalgia fans, which I think they missed out on a great opportunity. Roy Jones Jr. is trying to start a promotion company. He has a promotion company. He's starting to build guys up. What fucking better time than to throw all these young, exciting fighters on the card? Just fucking these, guys at 4-0 against the guy who was at 5-0. All the fucking guys you're trying to build up, throw them all on this card. These quick 4 rounds, 6 rounds of just got like the Vasquez Gonzalez fight. What you missed such a big opportunity there. Like if you're going to try to be a promoter, you had the perfect opportunity to do it. Not on BN Sports or BEIN or whatever. That's the last place I saw Roy Jones with one of his boxers, but that was a great opportunity. You didn't need... Anyone I talked to didn't give a shit about Paul versus Robinson or Jack against whoever the fuck it was. I forgot to write it down. It obviously wasn't that good. But he missed a perfect chance for it. Because what you do is you have these young guys fighting. You have these exciting young guys fighting who are hungry. There's going to be guys that are shitting themselves too much because they're on this card. And there's going to be guys that are going to step up to the plate that are on this card. You have 3 fights, 3 6 to 8 round fights of guys like that. All of a sudden, a kid shows up and, annihilates another one. It's fun to watch. All of a sudden, that name's in the main lexicon and, half your job's done for you, Jones. I'm not as smart as I make myself out to be. I mean, granted, I'm usually the smartest guy in the room, but I surround myself with a lot of stupid. A lot of stupid. So, yeah, I'm the smartest guy in the room, but how am I the only one that could have thought about that? And I have a hard time thinking Tyson and his people wouldn't have seen the merit in that. Wouldn't have seen what... I mean, Zab Judah got a lot just by Tyson pumping his name out there. But I can't see how any of those people would have been against it. And it seemed like an opportunity lost. So now we get to the main event fight. Now we're finally built up to that. And Tyson comes in and Jones comes in. And holy fuck. I made predictions before the fight. Well, my prediction before the fight was, Jones' last professional fight was in 2018. And it was, real sanctioned, real all that. It wasn't, the jack off, 2-minute round fight that, Saturday was. So I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know. Yes, Tyson was a beast, probably still is a beast, but I'm sitting there thinking there's nothing. I'm thinking 15 years to 2 years layoff in between professional fights. So I thought Jones was going to have an easier time kind of getting it up to fighting speed or fighting, whatever. And, Tyson was, going to be fun. It wasn't going to be, a horrible fight, but it wasn't going to be as competitive as everyone thought. Boy, was I fucking wrong. Jesus Christ. Tyson came out and just started walking through Jones and just started throwing and going to the body, going up top, and 2-minute round. If they weren't 2-minute rounds, the absolute latest that fight would have gone is the third. Jones looked fucking lost. He looked out of shape. Everything I thought that was going to happen with Tyson happened with Jones. There was a time where I thought that he was going to quit on a stool in an exhibition match like that. Tyson at least doubled the punches thrown and landed. But Tyson looked like he was in decent shape. If you didn't tell me who was who before the fight, and you asked me who fought 2 years ago and who fought 15 years ago, it would have been a fucking no-brainer. The problem is, it was the exact opposite. I will give it up to Mike Tyson, and I just, I underestimated him. I didn't underestimate him. I overestimated, I think, Jones's recent experience. I think that's a good way to say it, because if they had the same layoff, I would have said, Tyson no matter what. It was the 15-year layoff that did it. Now we get to the part where I almost punched a hole through my wall. They called it a tie. They called it a goddamn tie. Now, we know it's an exhibition. We know it basically turned out as trying to get this fucking rap version of TikTok off the ground. That's who was sponsoring it. And you have Mario Lopez hosting it. So, the round 2 of it being a joke. And the Paul guy fighting, the point guard who didn't live up to his hype. So all these things point to a joke, but then you fucking call it a draw, and you have Jim Gray there, a Hall of Fame sports announcer, fucking just playing along. Well, it was a tie, boys. What do you think? Would you guys run it back? You fucking shouldn't. Tyson rolled that fight, and then you're watching below. They're showing the scoring live, and the scoring was absolutely dog shit, horrible. And you have Vinny Pazienza, the Tasmanian Devil. You have Chad Dawson, Bad Chad Dawson, former boxer, and some broad judging it. She might have been a boxer. I don't know. I just saw a woman's name and I figured, there's another one. God, they love throwing broads in where they don't belong. The one organization that got it right, I would say, is the NHL. Because they threw in a broad who ended up finishing 4th out of 5th in the fastest skater competition or whatever. So she was and this is all players at the All-Star game. So out of All-Star, she was the 4th fastest. So she belonged there. But this dumbass kicker from Vanderbilt, and you have some broad judging Tyson Jones, was a joke. I don't know how many times I saw, and I wasn't watching close enough, and I have it recorded, so I should probably go back, but I won't. But I saw at least twice where I looked at the bottom when they're showing the live scoring, and Pazienza had it 10-10 in a round. Neither one of them are going to fight you to their home, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. And then they're talking about doing a rematch. I would be more apt to order the rematch if this was called the way it was. If this was said, hey, Tyson, you walked this fucker down, you annihilated him, would you fight him again? They said yes. I'm like, all right, let's see what Jones has coming back. Or let's see what Tyson has, his second fight in the round. But you have, Vinny Pazienza. I pride myself on being able to say that better than a lot of people, but Vinny Paz decided he was going to go along with the joke part of it. So I was probably most annoyed at his judging. Again, there's some broads, so obviously, especially even the broads that know what they're doing. If you look at like her Julie Letterman's last card, it was just fucking outrageous. And anyway, so you have some broad, and then you have Chad Dawson out there, who was also scoring the fight. Who, again, I didn't see his scores that well. I was too busy. They showed Vinny's first, so I was too busy focusing on that. And Chad Dawson was the other judge. Chad Dawson, great fighter. But there's no way you should respect yourself that little to allow that fucking fight to be called a tie. Quite honestly, Chad Dawson and Jim Gray are the ones I'm most annoyed about on that. Because Jim Gray is, again, Hall of Fame announcer, and he's standing up there with these two fuckers basically laughing because he knew it was going to be called a tie. And, well, would you guys do it again? Would you guys... Jim Gray, you've called out some of the best. Straight to their faces. Why aren't you doing it here? I didn't realize how annoyed with Jim Gray I was until just now. I didn't realize, yes, it's a joke exhibition. We all know that. But come on. And basically what happened is if a celebrity football game, if one of the teams went up 40-0, and then the other team kicked a field goal, I'm like, all right, good tie, boys. That's exactly what it looked like. And Jim Gray just sat there and laughed about it with them. Fucking bullshit. That's where I wanted my refund. I didn't expect an amazing fight. It turned out to be a better fight than I thought it was going to be. I didn't expect an amazing card. Turned out to be a better card than I want. So I threw my $50 down, getting slightly better than what I felt like I was going to get until that fucking decision. That's when I wanted the goddamn refund. That's when I wanted to punch Mario Lopez. That's when whatever fucking app they're trying to get, I am never going to download ever because of this abortion that they let happen. Never going to happen. And you get to the judging, and the fix may have been in. Who gives a shit? If it's that bad, you can't do that. So you have Vinny Paz, some broad, and Chad Dawson. He annoyed me the most. Basically, dude, in your career, you beat Antonio Tarver, who beat fucking Rocky. You beat the guy who beat Rocky in Rocky 6. How do you have that little respect for yourself to allow that to be called the way it was? I mean, come on. If you look at his resume. I mean, multiple time belt holder, huge fights, and again, beat the guy who beat Rocky. Granted, it was Rocky Balboa, Rocky 6, but still, fucking won. He beat Rocky. You beat the guy who beat Rocky, and you're gonna sign your name onto this bullshit. And if you didn't know this was what was gonna happen, that's one thing. If you get there and you show up, but there's no way that could be called a tie without all three of these people, being in on it. Paz needs money. The broad probably just is happy sitting at the same table. And, fuck, Dawson probably needs money too, knowing how boxers save their money. Dude, you in essence beat Rocky. What the fuck are you doing, Chad? It's me taking a fucking goddamn moment. I swear to Christ. Now, Spence Garcia, the Spence Garcia fight is this weekend. Who I have Spence by decision, by unanimous decision. That's what I'm going betting wise on that. Garcia's too tough to knock out after a 15-month layoff. So that's where I'm sitting with that. But it's almost souring me on ordering that fight and getting that fight, even though that's a real fight. That's gonna be, it's two of the top welterweights. Hopefully, the winner of this, if I'm praying on my stars, the winner of this will take on Terrence Crawford. But I don't know if I'm everyone else just because I don't know if I'm the same as everyone else just because I watch the sport relatively regularly. But that decision really soured me on fucking boxing. Then you look at it, you realize, okay, it's an exhibition, it's a joke, whatever. But Christ, I could see a lot of people who are trying to get into the sport say that's a tie. Well, fuck this. If you're trying to grow your sport, that's exactly what you want, right? You want a shitload of eyes on something that you're not normally going to have, and they're going to look at something and say, you know what? This is bullshit, and stop watching it. That's exactly what you want, right? Jones being a promoter too, the fact that he went along with that just fucking annoys me. Again, great event, great fight, but once you call it a tie, fucking ruined everything. Alright, now that I'm done with that, let me top off the old beer ski here. One other thing I wanted to talk about. There is a show on the Vice channel that just came out or just came on or whatever. It's called While the Rest of Us Die. And they sell it as if, like, hey, look at all these, the previews were, look at all these underground bases and what the Illuminati and the rich people were doing, to save their own asses and things like that. Which is a fantastic idea for a show. Quite honestly, it's just like, let's show all these underground bases. Let's show the shit that really, here's what we have proof of that really exists. I mean, they showed the Greenbrier, which was rumored for years and years and years, and finally was made public. And they had a guy working there saying, holy shit, I never know this was here. And they made that public. They happened to show that, and they talked about this one, I forget which. Should have really looked into it. Like carved out of a mountain in Colorado or some shit. Probably not Colorado, because Colorado's the Denver airport, so they might be getting to that. But While the Rest of Us Die, I think in the first 2 episodes, they talked, hour-long episodes, they talked a total of 7 minutes about these secret underground tunnels and underground bases that they're having for people. Total of 7 minutes. No, it's all the fucking show was. The show was basically saying, hey, look at how crazy, and it's Vice, so I'll give them a little leeway there. I wasn't going in expecting a, straight down the middle reporting or anything like that. I mean, it's a network that was started by Brooklyn hipsters. Obviously, you're not going to get the most fair reporting of the thing, but I was expecting a little more about the underground shit. Tell us what's going on. The most recent episode that I do have recorded is about FEMA, so obviously it's going to be how bad the government fucked up Katrina, which it did. But so, if you want to hear exactly what the episodes were about, if you haven't watched them, or if you watched them, you can tell me if I'm completely off base. So, besides the 7 minutes total, talking about these underground bases that exist and that they're hiring people, episode 1 basically was Trump too batshit to have his finger on the button, and Richard Nixon also went a little too batshit to have his finger on the button. That is basically what it was. It was basically talking about how close we were to big ass fucking wars because of these two crazy people. And again, Nixon and Trump. That's who they talked about. They didn't talk about anyone else. They didn't talk about Carter, who was too afraid to be on the button and let hostages, be in Iran for over a year, or how we were probably a year and a half too late into the Bosnia, Yugoslavia, Croatia mess under Clinton. It didn't talk about that. It didn't talk about the other side of the button. No, it talked about Nixon was turning batshit, so he shouldn't have had the button. And Trump was too crazy to have the button. That was the first episode. Oh yeah, and then carved out of the mountain, there's a tunnel. The title of the fucking show is supposed to be While the Rest of Us Die. What are these fuckers gonna do? Wow. Because we know the worldwide shit's coming. I mean, we're not fucking idiots. I mean, some people are, but we know any of my square heads know that something worldwide is coming. Something worldwide's coming soon. And it's going to... and we're all fucked. We're all fucked. But, so I wanted a show that was going to tell me, while we're sitting here burning in nuclear radiation, combined with acid rain, combined with new smallpox that infects white people too, what the rich and powerful are going to do. So, episode 1, some sort of fucking mountain in the Midwest, and they might need it because Nixon was crazy and Trump is crazy. There's your first episode. Episode 2. The big thing was the Greenbrier. First I heard of it was as a golf tournament, and it's a very exclusive resort from what I hear, and obviously being a big time golf tournament, that's not too big of a shock. But here is what the majority of the episode was about. I would say, with commercials and everything, you're looking at, 52-minute episode or whatever. 47 minutes of the episode was Bush really fucked up 9/11 and let the madman Dick Cheney, it's spelled Cheney, what, I don't know. The madman Dick Cheney go ham on everything, and he's fucking crazy. Basically saying that, hey, Dick Cheney, not only did he have alleged financial interest in the Middle East, he was just fucking crazy, and Bush just let him run amok, and that was the, again, 47 of the 55 minutes or whatever was that. And then they talk about, the Greenbrier. It sounds wrong when you say it, Greenbrier. It sounds wrong. The Greenbrier underground tunnel or whatever. They talked about that shit. And, they're going, yeah, it looks like just like, you expect something, but it's just like dorms and cafeterias and common rooms and things like, and they go through a show, and it's nothing special, it looks like anyone's fucking, high school cafeteria or whatever, and, just dorm rooms and everything. But you gotta remember, and then that's what they're saying, wow, you would think this, of course the elite are gonna stay there. That is the fucking Poconos of what we're gonna be fucking deal with. A barracks / high school / rec center, summer camp, whatever, is going to be the Long Island mansion of what the fuck we're dealing with. So being all surprised it wasn't that good or wasn't as good or whatever kind of bugged me, but they talked about, they go down there and they got a tour of it, and they're like, oh, look at all these military style weapons, and they're ready to secure the place, and obviously they're only going to let a few people in, and these people were to help keep other people out. No shit. No shit. How fucking stupid / naive are you to think that these underground bases are for everybody? I mean, even in fucking the video game Fallout, they don't let everyone into the underground bases or whatever. And it's just, I'm like, oh, well, this is obviously for the elite and the government, and that's where they're going to be. Well, yeah. And of course I want them in there first. Yeah, I hate the federal government. Yeah, I think politicians are stupid, but I prefer them having the authority to rebuild a nation, or, have to call plays from the bunker or whatever. I prefer them over some fucking strip club DJ or some shit like that. So yeah, of course the rich and powerful are gonna have a place, and they're gonna have certain military trained people to guard them. I found that it blows my mind what people decide when people decide what's going to be shocking for you. It really fucking bugs me. Because here's what they do, because a lot of people don't realize this. I watch documentaries and I watch, news and things like that, and the first thing I look at is what's their point. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people look at making a murderer, if you will, and say, Stephen Avery, he must have been innocent. Whereas, someone like myself, who not saying I'm better than anybody or smarter than anybody, I'm just saying, my first thought when watching that was, all right, they're telling it from this side. So here's how this side looks at it. So when you basically decide on a report or on a show, when you basically say, hey, look, here is what's surprising about this. Here's what you should be up in arms about. Here's when the music stops and they close into your face real quick. You're telling people when to fucking be surprised. You're telling people, oh man, this is the shitty part of this. It's not. We know that's happening. We already know that's happening. If you're talking about underground bases, we know that's what's happening. It's for the elite and it's for the rich. Don't pretend like it's surprising that they're going to have people keeping people out. Let's be surprised that this shit's already here, and I don't know, maybe not surprised. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just annoyed because I was like hoping to watch it like HDTV, like, oh, look at what they did with the common room in this underground base. That's kind of what I was hoping for, rather than oh, well, 9/11's fucked up. Here's where half of them would have went. And maybe my expectations were a little too off for what was going to happen, but that's kind of what I hoped for. And the fact that, again, it just so left-leaning, and not even just unapologetically left-leaning. It's fine if you're coming from an angle of the left or anything like that, but just for the fucking fact that you don't even mention Clinton, you don't even mention Carter, who were within that first episode, they were within that gap, and they both were, what a lot of people think, late to the button, as opposed to potentially early to the button. That's what bugged me about it, is if you're gonna show it from this point of view, which is fine, what you're saying is, these two guys are crazy, they're gonna send us into war, not that these two guys, may not have, I don't have enough time for all that, that's a different story for a different day, but I'm gonna watch episode 3, probably tonight or tomorrow, of While the Rest of Us Die on Vice, and they talk about FEMA here, which is, okay, since it's FEMA, we're going to talk about Hurricane Katrina and President Bush not caring about black people. That's what the story's going to be. Now, if there's no talk of some sort of underground base or some sort of fucking airplane that was going to take people to Tahiti or wherever the fuck we have safe houses, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. It looked like a cool show. The Vice Network hadn't done something I thought was worthwhile in a long time because they were, again, I don't know if pandering is the right word because you're going for your target audience, but they hadn't done something that really interests me in a while. This did it until you showed me what the first 2 episodes were. And those first 2 episodes were Right's crazy, Right's crazy, Right's crazy. Oh, hey, look, there's some underground doors. Okay, we know you think the Right's crazy. Show us more of what's behind the fucking doors. That's what I tuned in for. Alright. Well, we're coming up to the hour. So I just want to thank everyone for... I want to thank all my squareheads for listening. That's right. And remind everybody, I was drinking Westbound Train Juicy India Pale Ale from Brick West in Spokane, Washington. And the cool thing about it is a juicy IPA usually is on the lower side of, kind of the darkness when it comes to craft beers and things like that. When I was looking at their kind of list of beers and everything, they kind of listed it by dark to light and what have you. This was kind of right in the middle of the pack, so it appeared that they had a lot of ways to go, both darker and lighter. So I definitely will be checking them out more, and you should too. So again, I want to thank Mitch for hooking me up with the beer recommendation. I want to thank all my squareheads for checking this out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, review, all that stuff that you're supposed to do with it. And you may be seeing a bonus episode coming up. If not, I will see you fuckers next week.